Good morning. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, the Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted via WebEx, an online digital platform, and will be live-streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. My name is Nancy Oman, and I will be chairing this hearing. Panel members participating via WebEx and who can be seen and heard are Lisa Valentini, Peter Reid, and Larry Clay. City staff will be assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating the WebEx platform. Agents, applicants, and other interested parties participating in this virtual hearing registered in advance and will be connecting through WebEx using a compatible electronic device. Their participation will be through audio only. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and it is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to the property, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision for an application must submit a written request by email to the general email address for the Committee of Adjustment, Toronto and East York office. Please include your name, address, and an email address. All Committee of Adjustments and TLAB notifications and appeal updates will be sent by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, also known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, known as LPAT. Appeal instructions will be set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. Participants who have registered in advance will be connected to this virtual hearing and will be muted automatically upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with his or her presentation, if required, and the committee may ask questions and/or take the matter directly into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute mark. When addressing the committee, please speak slowly, clearly state your name and address. Please confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. Where required, the applicant or agent will proceed first with a presentation of the application. Then, individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have completed their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent will be unmuted and will have the opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of discussion, and the application will be taken into committee for a decision. Please note, the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice are informed of the changes. Madam Deputy Secretary-Treasurer, have the minutes of the last Committee of Adjustment public hearing been confirmed by the members?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Members or staff, do you have any interests to declare in any of the items in today's first time slot?
No, Madam Chair.
No? Panel members, can you unmute yourselves and just say your name and no? Okay.
Lisa Valentini.
Okay. Madam Deputy Secretary-Treasurer, are there any requests to withdraw an application?
Through you, Madam Chair, there are no requests to withdraw an application, and I have not received any requests for deferral.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will now proceed with our first item, which is 22 Bryant Avenue. Panel members, we have before us a copy of the plan of surveys, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Axelrod, the agent, decision number, a previous decision that affects this property. We have a staff report from the acting supervisor, tree protection and plan review from forestry, correspondence in support from number 20 and 24, Bryant, both adjacent properties, and correspondence in opposition from Razina Parvin. And is the applicant on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can I ask you to state your name and address for the record, please? And then I will check with the panel members if we need a presentation.
My name is Courtney Verhoef, and I live at 22 Bryant Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation? Or would you like to go to questions?
I'm fine.
Okay, could everyone maybe just unmute themselves? Okay, do any of the panel members have a question of the applicant?
I have no questions.
Mr. Clay, Mr.
None
Reed?
for me.
No, Mr. Reed, no? All right, so we'll take it into committee then. Any discussion and a motion?
Yeah, I'd say I think this is very minor. We only have the one variance that is up for discussion. Existing conditions in the back.
I'm sorry, can you could you just repeat the last, you're cutting in and out quite a bit. Could you repeat?
Pardon me. Yeah, I think that's fuzzy, eh?
Okay, would you like to move a motion?
I'd move a motion to approve, subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Okay, I have sorry, Mr. Clay, you want a second?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm happy to second, but I just wanted to acknowledge there was one letter of opposition, but the letter reflects a view that about the laneway suite as opposed to the actual variance. So, and there's nothing we could do. There was no variances requested with respect to the laneway suite. So I would agree with Peter, and I will second his motion.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the application moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? Okay, your application has been approved, Ms. Verhoek. Okay, we'll now move to item number 2, 787 Adelaide Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have staff reports from community planning, as well as we have a forestry condition number 2 from tree protection. Is the applicant on the line?
Madam Chair, can you see if you're muted?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just 1 minute. I'm not on. Okay, sorry about that. Could I have your name, please, and address for the record, and then I will check with the members if we need a presentation.
Yes, very good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Nelson Espinola, and I'm here as the agent for this application, 787 Adelaide Street West.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Espinola. Panel members, do you need a presentation?
No, thanks.
Do any of the members have any questions?
I don't.
Okay, so we'll take
Questions
it.
for me. This seems straightforward.
Okay, there are no questions, so we will take it into committee. Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to say I think the depth is really focused towards the middle of the lot, and there's a lot of setback on both sides, and I think that lessens the impact. So I think it's very minor, and FSI is negligible.
Okay, any other comments?
I'd agree. I looked at the lot plan. It's actually quite a deep lot to begin with, right? So.
I agree as well. It looks like they're just replacing an existing addition with a slightly larger one. So I feel that there's no impact really in this case either.
Okay, in that case then, I will need a motion.
I'm happy to bring a motion forward in this case for approval of the application. It's going to be subject to the Urban Forestry Condition number 2, and as well the conditions set out in the planning report regarding the proposed building depth applying to the ground floor only, and that the addition be constructed substantially in accordance with the plans dated November 28, 2019.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Sure, I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, including forestry condition number 2, the planning condition in the April 28th report, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Okay, the application is approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, the next item is item number 3, 93 WOODYCREST Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a list of comparable FSI variances that have been approved in the area. We have a staff report from the Director of Community Planning. We have 7 form letters in support, all from residents on WOODYCREST Avenue. We have correspondence expressing concern from number 132 and 126 Langford Avenue. And, just 1 second. No, okay, that's all we have. Is the applicant there?
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. Could I have your name and address for the record, and then I'll check with the members to see if we need a presentation.
Absolutely. It's Graham Barrett. I'm agent for the owners. I live at 1575 Dundas Street West.
Thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation?
No.
No? Do any of you have questions of the applicant?
Maybe I'll start. I noticed there was a couple letters of concern written by neighbors who were concerned that this not be converted into some sort of accommodation or laneway suite. Maybe you can just speak to that issue and confirm the owner's intent.
Yeah, happily. No, they have no intention of converting this into a laneway suite. I saw those letters as well, and it seems another laneway suite back there ruffled some feathers in the area. And that is not my client's intention at all. This is parking for 2 vehicles, a little bit of extra storage space. They have a couple young kids, so lawn maintenance equipment, bikes, that kind of thing. If this were to be living space, it would be shown on the plans. So those letters, those neighbors have nothing to be concerned about.
Any further questions, panel members?
No, thanks.
Not for me.
Okay.
For me.
We'll take it into committee.
I'm fine with this. Again, I think the variances being requested are comparably minor, and it has been reviewed by city planning. There is a planning report. So if none of my colleagues have any comments, I'm happy to move a motion to approve, subject to the planning report, which I believe is built according to plans. Is that right?
I'm showing, hang on, I'm looking at the wrong one here. So it is.
That is correct.
Yeah, it's the May 19th report. And yeah, substantially in accordance with the dimensions shown in, it names several drawings.
Right.
Site plan, east elevation, south elevation, west elevation. Okay,
Second.
so that's Mr. Clay's motion, is a motion to approve, including the conditions in the May 19th planning report. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application is approved. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, the next item is 31 Rusholme Park Crescent. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a letter from the councillor, the local councillor, Councillor Balo, 7 form letters in support signed by residents on Rusholme Park Crescent, as well as St. Anne's Road. Is the agent or applicant on the line?
Yes, Madam Chair, Jay Smith, I'm the agent for 31 Rusholme Park Crescent.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you need a full presentation?
No, I don't.
Okay, do you have any questions?
No questions for me, thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have somebody who would like to speak?
Yes, that's correct. There's one person who wishes to speak in interest.
Okay, Mr. Smith, we do have one person who would like to speak, so I would appreciate it if you could give us a brief presentation. You have maximum 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The owners purchased the property just over a year ago with the impact report showing that the property was a 3-dwelling unit. They purchased it with the intent to live in the second, third floor and rent out the basement first floor in order to afford the dwelling. After they started doing some work on a plumbing permit, the inspector realized that the building was in fact only a very single family dwelling. So we are looking to make the existing conditions legal. The front porch, there is a setback for that. That is also an existing condition. And there was actually a permit approved for it September 9th, 1997 for that size of front porch, although at the time it was never built. We have on the street, there are 3 units or 3 houses, number 8, 24, and 22, that have already been approved for 3-unit dwellings. 2 of them with greater than 45% of the other units being rental. One of them has an FSI of 1.49 to give you an idea of the size of some of these units. We have another 14 units in the area, or 14 addresses in the area that have been converted to 3 to 4 units. Again, many of them have a greater than 45%. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is the person who would like to speak, are you on the line? If you are, can
This
you...
right here is a file who has already gone through training.
I'm sorry, I can't make out what you said, but I need you to please give us your name.
What's your April. I was in quarantine for 2 weeks. You was here for 2 weeks. You did the training, you got in back.
Excuse me?
The thing is, I have a
Can you...
Hi, Alexander, this is the host. I'm going to unmute you. Can you please say your name and address for the record?
It's Oli. I remember the email is Oli.
Hi, Alexander, are you there?
Do you want me to try?
Alexander, can you hear me? I don't think he...
It's Warren, right? Warren, yeah. Yeah, I get that email
talking to
here.
someone else.
So, let me, there it is. Is there any record of the training? The user has only done it. I remember they sent me the...
Mr. Udovic? Mr. Udovic? Okay, panel members, just to let you know, we're going to attempt to call him from our end and see if we can get him on the line. Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Udovec, are you there? Mr. Udovec? Mr. Udovec, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. There we go.
Okay, sorry, I think I got kicked off the meeting there.
Okay, Mr. Udovec, this is Nancy Oman, the chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So if we could just have your name and address for the record, and then I will ask the applicant to do a brief presentation. Just make sure there's no background noise or anything happening. I'm not sure what happened, but if you could just be cognizant of that.
Yeah, sure, not a problem. Okay, yeah, so my name is... Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Alexander Udovec. So I am the Health Safety and Environment Specialist at the 277 Gladstone Avenue, which is Mondelez International Gladstone Manufacturing Facility.
Okay. Did you hear the presentation? Because the applicant did give a brief presentation.
No, sorry, I think it kicked me out about
okay, so
maybe 5 minutes ago or so.
Okay, I'm going to ask the applicant to just give a brief recap for your benefit. So
sure.
If I can ask Mr. Smith to please come back on.
Yeah, so Mr. Udovec, I'm just going to put you on mute. Please stay on the line. Okay, Jay, you are unmuted.
Thank you. As before, Madam Chair, and just briefly, the 3 units are existing condition. We do have 3 other units on the street, 8, 24, and 22, that all have been approved for 3 units. As I said before, 2 of them are greater than the 45%, which is our variance number 1, where we're asking for 54% to be the secondary suites. Number 22, Rushholme Park Crescent, has the 1.49 FSI. As I said, there are multiple buildings in the immediate area within the 500-meter radius that have 3 to 4 units. The front porch, again, it's an existing condition, and a permit was approved September 9th, 1997. For the front porch that wasn't built. So we are looking to rebuild that because of the condition it's in. There is adequate parking. So the only 2 variances are the front yard setback and the percentage of the secondary suites.
Okay, thank you. We'll now go to Mr. Udovec, and then we'll have you back to give any comments based on his feedback.
Okay, Mr. Udovec,
Hello?
you should be unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr.
Okay,
Udovec,
great.
you have 5 minutes. starting now.
Sure. Yeah, so no, just reviewing everything, it doesn't seem like it will have any real impact on us as far as the facility goes. So again, no issues with what the changes were being proposed.
Okay, so you're basically in support of the application and you have no concerns?
No, not for based on what I heard, it doesn't seem like there would be anything.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add, or that's your submission?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to mute you again. Okay, Mr. Smith?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Is there anything you want to add at this point? Otherwise, I'll go to my committee members to see if they have questions.
No, I'm good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you have any questions of the agent?
No questions on my end here.
No, thanks.
No?
I'm fine.
All right, we'll take it into committee for a decision.
I think this one is minor in nature. We've heard from the applicant, and thank you for your presentation, that the 3 units is in fact a pre-existing condition that they're seeking to legalize. So it's been operating that way, and the impact, there'd be no further impact given that it's pre-existing. As well, we've heard that the variance for the front porch is also front balcony is also a pre-existing condition. So in my view, I do not see that this being any further impact, and in my view, this is minor in nature. He's also advised us that there are other units on this, or houses on the street that contain 3 units. So I think this fits in with what's currently going on in the neighborhood as well.
Okay, I would just add that, I mean, there's several homes that have large decks that are quite in proximity to this. There's also quite a large modern home that was built that has also, well, it looks very similar in terms of the size and whatnot. So I think that what's being proposed does fit within the context of the neighborhood. Does anybody else have anything to add? Any other member?
No, nothing to add, no concerns from me.
Okay.
Same here, I agree.
So Ms. Valentini, would you like to move a motion?
Sure. Yep. I'm prepared to move a motion in this case for approval of the application, and there are no conditions.
Okay, have a motion to approve moved by Ms. Valentini,
I'll second that.
seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? The application has been approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, the final item in this time slot is 135 to 137 St. George Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a transportation consultants report from Karen Montaigne, LE Consulting. We have email correspondence from the Assistant Planner, Heritage Preservation Services. Is the agent on the, or the solicitor rather, is on the line?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair. It's Eileen Costello from Aird Burles LLP. I'm here on behalf of the owner and applicant.
Thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation on this item?
No thanks. No thanks.
Fine.
Okay.
I don't need it.
Alrighty. Do any of the members have questions of Ms. Costello? Okay. We'll take it straight into committee then.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any discussion?
I think this is fairly straightforward. This is just a conversion from, I mean, it's a shame to lose res, but on the other hand, this is an economic development opportunity to generate commercial office space in an area which seems to be one where this would be an appropriate activity. And the variance they're talking about is might be minor in terms of what's available for parking in that neighborhood. So personally, I'm fine with it.
I agree, Larry.
Okay. Did you want to move a motion, Mr. Clay?
Sure. I'll move approval. I don't believe there's no conditions, right? So
No.
I will move approval of this application.
Do I have?
Happy to second that.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the application, moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Okay, Ms. Costello, your application has been approved unanimously.
My thanks to the committee. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. The committee is now in recess until 10 o'clock. I'm sorry, 11 o'clock. Okay, we're ready to go with the 11 o'clock time slot, and the first item is 83 Glen Road. Panel members, we have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a staff report from the program manager, Heritage Preservation Services. We have correspondence in support from number 80, 76, and 85 Glen Road. Okay, is the applicant on the line? Can you?
My name is Jonathan Hatch, the applicant for an agent for 83 Glen Road.
Okay, good morning. Let me just check if my panel members need a presentation. Do we need a presentation? No? Okay. Are there any questions, panel members, of the agent?
Thanks.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
So there are no questions?
No.
Okay, we'll take it into committee then for a discussion and a motion.
Yeah, I think this is extremely minor, right? And it's something we don't usually see, is the removal of a garage instead of, we often see people inserting garages. So I think it's a positive thing. I think the variances that are being asked for are already reflected throughout the neighborhood. People park in their front driveways up and down Glen Road and across the city. So I see no negative impact, and I think returning former garage space to open space is a positive thing. So if no one else has any questions, I'd be happy to move that motion.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Reed.
So I move a motion to approve subject to the heritage planning condition.
Okay, I have a motion to, you're going to second, Mr. Clay?
I'll second it, Chair.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the application, including the heritage condition in the March 19th report, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? Okay, your application's approved unanimously. Okay, the next item is item number 7, 55 Rosedale Heights Drive. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the existing north side elevation, southeast corner, and south elevation. We have justifications for the variances by the agent, and 15 form letters in support signed by owners or occupants on Rosedale Heights Drive and Ridge Drive. Is the agent on the line?
Yes, I am. My name is Toivo Vahi, 17 Bridle Trail, Midhurst, and I am the agent for the homeowners.
Okay, Mr. Moderator, is there somebody who'd like to speak?
Yes, we do have one person who would like to speak on this application.
Okay, Mr. Vahi, because we have somebody who would like to speak to the application, you have a maximum of 5 minutes to give us a briefing. So you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Item number 1, the permitted maximum height of the rear main walls is 8.5 meters. The proposed height of the rear exterior main walls is 8.9 meters. That rear main wall is an extension of the existing home and is part of the new proposed roof line of the 3rd story. Now, saying that the existing 2-story addition is actually further set back into the rear yard. So in terms of a rear main wall appearance, it actually more or less looks like a dormer on the 3rd story rather than a full 3 stories of wall. We feel that this is very minor, and as a matter of fact, it sort of reflects in the design as being appropriate to the vernacular of the building. Item number 2, the permitted maximum floor space index, 0.6 times the area of the lot. We're requesting for 0.65 times area of the lot. This, we feel, is very minor in terms of floor space index. The neighborhood has many examples of floor space indexes that are well beyond the 0.6 requirement, and again, I stress that we feel this is a minor request. That's all I have to say. and I'd like to respond if available after the.
Yeah, you will have that opportunity, so we're going to mute you now. Okay, is the speaker on the line? Yes? Okay, can you hear me? Mr. Gowan?
Yes.
Okay, just for the record, we need your name and address.
Jeremy Gowan, 238 Grace Park Drive, Toronto, representing the MPRA. The committee that reviews these proposals has looked at this one and thinks it's perfectly reasonable. So we have nothing to add.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gowan. And if I could have the applicant back on the line?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Vahi, is there any comments you would like to make before I take it into committee?
No, we are happy with what is in place. We have no other comments.
Okay, thank you. So we'll take it into committee. Panel members, do you have any questions? I don't think you do. So a discussion or a motion?
I'm happy to weigh in on this one. I think this one is minor in nature and meets the 4 tests. As the applicant has helpfully, or the agent helpfully pointed out, the addition of the 3rd floor as a dormer does help soften the appearance of the addition and lessen the impact. So I think that's a good thing in terms of the variance requested for rear exterior main wall height at the rear. I think the dormer does soften the impact of any additional height requested. And again, I think the variance for FSI is minimal in this case. And it's been pointed out there are other FSIs in the neighborhood that are at this or greater. So I think in this case, this meets the 4 tests. I'm happy to bring a motion unless my colleagues have any comments.
I think they're okay with you moving a motion.
Okay. In that case, I'm moving a motion for approval of the application, and there are no conditions in this case.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion to approve, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? Your application has been approved unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members committee.
Okay, thank you. We'll move now to item number 8, 1993 Davenport Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and we have correspondence in support from 1991 and 1995 Davenport Road, which are both adjacent properties. Do we have the applicant? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, good morning. My name is Julio Cifuentes. The address is 1993 Davenport Road, and I am the applicant.
Thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation by the applicant? Is that a no?
I'm fine.
Everybody's okay? Do any of the members have a question of the applicant?
Yeah, I have one question. This is Peter Reid. Just confirming that it looks like there's a significant slope that comes down south of Davenport. Is that the main reason for the height of the deck?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Are there any further questions, panel members?
None for me.
Okay, seeing none, we'll take it into committee. Any comments?
Sure. I think this is really straightforward. I'd be happy to move a motion if people don't have any further comments, but it's reasonable. The deck in the back, I think, given the grade especially, and the difference in coverage with the carport is very minor. So I'd move to approve with no conditions, please.
Okay, do I have a seconder?
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reid, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Your application has been approved unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item is 29 Cloverdale Road. Just bear with me 1 second here. Okay, we have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a covering letter from Nadia Sivak, the applicant. Is the applicant on the line? Okay, sir, go ahead.
Good morning. It's Mario Silva. I'm the agent for 29 Cloverdale.
Okay, let me check if my panel needs a presentation. No? Panel members, do you have any questions of the agent? It's Mr. Silva.
Mario.
Yeah. Hang on. So I think Mr. Clay has a question.
Yeah, just very quickly. So I just want to clarify. So this was an addition that was built by a previous owner. Is that correct? And you guys are just looking to legalize it?
No, it's by the current owner. They built it because the elderly parents actually need the space on the main floor because they're unable to go to the upper floors. So they need the extra space as an amenity for them to sit in, and that's why they have this addition built. The existing FSI is 0.64. We're asking for 0.69, and that's the only variance. So this is very minor in my opinion. It meets the setbacks.
So the current owners built the addition without a building permit, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you're looking to legalize that?
That is correct.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll take it into committee. Any comments, panel members?
Go ahead, Mr.
When I see these things, I mean, I always just want to acknowledge that, I mean, notwithstanding whether it's a good or bad thing, people shouldn't be building these things without building permits or without approvals before they commence, and then kind of coming in afterwards to get approval. I mean, I get what happens and why, but, and I'm happy to sort of cede to Lisa, to you, but I always like to, when I see these kinds of things, I think it's just important to acknowledge that these are the types of activities that we shouldn't be condoning.
Any further?
I certainly agree. I certainly agree with Mr. Clay's comments, but I think given this is an application, we need to look at it as if it had not been built and decide on that basis. By no means do I condone building without a permit. I think that is a very serious matter, as Mr. Clay has pointed out. But when looking at the application and the variances requested, looking at the site plan and the addition, in my view, the addition is quite small in nature. I don't see any impact on neighbors in terms of, it's one story in nature as well, and I don't see any impact on the neighbors in terms of the size of the addition. The agent has pointed out, Mr. Silva has pointed out that the existing FSI is 0.64. So I think an increase in this case to 0.69 is very minor in nature. So I'm supportive of the application. And those are my comments.
Okay, Mr. Clay, would you like to move a motion, or unless there are further comments, but I don't see any?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to move approval of this. There are no conditions, right?
Yeah, no conditions.
All right. So I'll move a motion to approve this application.
I'm going to second it.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Okay, your application has been approved unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Chair, I should say.
Okay. All right, the next item is item number 34, Mountain View Avenue. Or it's item number 10, sorry, 34 Mountain View Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a staff report from the acting supervisor, tree protection, asking for condition number 2. Correspondence in support from number 32 and 36 Mountain View Avenue, so both adjacent properties. And is the speaker on the line?
Yes, Madam Chair, I will unmute him in a second. I just want to remind the committee members we're experiencing a bit of feedback through the YouTube. So if when you're not speaking, if you'd please just mute your microphone. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Gray, you are unmuted.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Committee. My name is Bevan Gray. I live at 210 High Park Ave, and I'm representing my client at 34 Mountview.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Panel members, do you need a presentation by the agent? I see a unanimous no. Are there any questions from the panel members? There are no questions, seeing none, so I will take it into committee for a discussion. I mean, I'll just start by saying that there are a lot of other additions in the neighborhood, so what's being proposed is certainly not out of the ordinary. It fits in the context, and there is support from both adjacent neighbors. Anyone have anything to add?
I agree. I'd also like to acknowledge that the addition is replacing a slightly smaller addition, so I think the kind of cumulative additional impact is very minor.
Any other comments? Seeing none, then I'll need a motion.
I'll move a motion to approve subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Do I have a seconder?
I'm happy to second that motion.
Okay, motion to approve, including forestry condition number 2, moved by Mr. Reid, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. And that concludes the morning session. So we now stand adjourned until 1:30. Yeah, it's 18, 17, whatever. It's close.